If you get Starlink, and when you're watching a Facebook video, your video does this. Roll the intro. Good afternoon from South Cambridge here in the United Kingdom for myself and Des. Des missed him out in the last episode. Now I do apologise. He hasn't left the series, and it's not a payment dispute type thing. I just forgot him, and I hate to admit that, but it did. Yes, if your internet does that when you're watching Instagram or Facebook, you're not alone. I'll touch on that in a second. So in terms of Starlink, there has been an update, first one in a couple of weeks, and this was the firmware. You can see it right here on the screen. And one of the first thing I noticed was that it's been pretty much the same. Okay, so it hasn't been. I've noticed this one firmware has encouraged slightly slower speeds, and the start of these speed tests are a bit of a red herring, really. It flew for the start, and I thought my whole theory was blown out of the water, but I've posted the graphs of the speed tests there. You can see the Starlink statistics, and I'll keep those running for you so you can check it out and see how it's going. But it's definitely less packet lossy, jittery. It's better. It's probably more stable, but just not as fast and as exciting. I think faster is more exciting, and it was more exciting, especially in the early days, reporting massive speeds and mega speed drops. But now it's just fast internet, and I'm okay with that. I don't know why I'm complaining. I'm not complaining. This isn't a complaint. It's good. So moving on to the next thing, Jeff Bezos is going to space, and yeah, there's a petition to not allow him back, and I find that quite entertaining earlier. It made me laugh a little bit inside. And I guess when you're the richest man in the world, what else are you going to do? You may as well go to space for 11 minutes. I mean, he can literally buy what he wants or do what he wants. I think there was some statistics saying he could sail around the world for the rest of his life in a super yacht and not worry about a thing. Anyway, back to reality, the Facebook thing. So if you have Starlink and you're struggling with Facebook or Instagram and you're trying to watch videos and it's glitching and buffering, there seems to be an issue. It's not your Starlink as such. Well, it is. So somebody in the Discord channel reached out and asked them this very question, and this was the response I got. So I think this is fairly reflective of what was happening with the Cashbox on YouTube in the earlier days of Starlink, and this seems to be the same now with Facebook and Instagram. In fact, Loki's kindly sent me a detailed response, and we'll just have a quick look through that. So Starlink have come back and they've give quite a detailed response and some tips if you are suffering from that, but imagine it's more firmware related than anything else, and I think, like the YouTube one, they will iron it out relatively quickly, which will be good if you like watching Facebook videos or Instagram videos. So there you go. I think that's pretty interesting. So moving on to the next thing, which is my camera. You get loads of questions about my camera. In fact, some people say they only watch my videos because of my camera quality. Well, what camera do I use? Well, I use this lovely piece of engineering, and this is the Sony a7S III, and honestly I love it, and fortunate enough to own one of these. They were very hard to get hold of a couple of months ago. I don't know how hard they are to get now. I think it was a chip shortage and there was a fire in Japan and one of the factories and stuff burned, and anyway, got one and I use it for content creation, which I'm doing right now. I think, could you class this as content? Maybe. But I also make films commercially and privately and various other things, and maybe I'll touch on that another day. And don't really like shouting about the stuff I've done, to be honest. I find it a bit weird, but maybe I will. Don't know. Watch this space. So jumping back to that firmware, here it is again. If you missed it earlier, well, you probably didn't, but there it is again anyway. And it's not been the same experience for everybody. Some people have been struggling with this update and they've had a bit more downtime, some dropouts, jumping back onto their backup ISPs. And I guess it depends where you are in the world and what your experience is. And please do feel free to input in the comments below if you are a Starlink user and your experience in anything with these firmware updates. I'm genuinely interested, and so are the community on Discord. The link's also in the description if you want to join that and share your experiences with it. It's a journey. It's an interesting journey. And that question, before I go, should I get Starlink? If you're asking yourself that question, my answer is, if you can get fiber to premises, no, you shouldn't. Like I said in previous videos. If you're like me, Starlink can be a game changer. Change everything. Make things loads better, faster, work, flow better. I would recommend it. If you can only get fiber to cabinet or 4G or 5G, get Starlink. It's good. So there you have it. That is the update from here in South Cambridge from myself and Des. Thank you for joining me. Whatever you're doing for the rest of the day, have a good one. And I will catch you later.